Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's good to see you back in the office today.
It's good to be back.
Okay, good. Good. That means that we can move forward with the counseling process. Before we begin, I just want to reintroduce myself. I know there's been quite some time that's elapsed between our first counseling session. So I'm Sasha. I will be your counselor until we have determined we've reached some goals and that you are successful to be able to move forward on your own.
Okay.
And just to warn you in advance, we will have some noise filtering in from time to time. We've got a lot of traffic coming in and out of the office, and I'll just try my best to keep you and myself focused on the goals for today. And we hope that the noise won't serve as a distraction to you. Okay?
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so the last time you were in the office, you talked quite a bit about what happened. You talked about your children, you talked about the separation of your husband, you even talked about your mom. Today, I think what I would like to do is to get you to share more about your support system in reference to your girlfriends, your close friends that you're connected with. I'd like to know more about the relationship prior to the rape incident, and then let's move forward and talk about how that relationship has changed since the rape incident. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll let you start, and if you can just go ahead and talk to me about who are your friends.
Well, the two girls who were there and who don't know what happened. They're like my sisters, but I just don't think I could ever tell them. Or I don't feel like I could tell them what happened. But they are two of the most important women in my life.
Okay.
I've known them for a while. Brandy and Stephanie.
Okay.
Brandy, I met right when I first started school. Actually, first day of classes. Went in and really was unsure about being there. Didn't feel really confident about being there. And sat down next to her, and she was really lively and outgoing and confident and sassy, and I just was drawn to her. And it was nice to connect with someone like that.
Okay.
And we've had that relationship ever since. She's full of life, full of energy, supportive. And then there's Stephanie, who I met later on, and really kind of is that nurturing person. And she's just my friend, and she's loyal. I can trust her. And I know I say that, and I also realize I haven't told them everything.
Okay.
But I just don't know how they would see me, so I don't want to risk changing our relationship. That being said, they are like my sisters.
Okay.
We call ourselves sister friends. Like, I have sisters, but me and my sisters aren't that close just because I feel like my mom treated them differently.
Okay.
And, they just deal with things in a way that I can't really appreciate. I don't always understand them. I feel like Brandy and Stephanie get me. And they're honest with me. And, they have my back. And plus, Brandy's like that fun person who, when I want to go out and get away from, when I first got married and I was having kids, and we just need to get breaks away from our family. We would go out and have a good time. And Stephanie was always that person I could call and confide in and talk to. And so I miss them a lot. It's hard because I know that they think something's wrong and they don't understand why I feel so angry. But I don't know. I just feel like because we've been so close, they should have been able to do more. They should know more without me having to say it, right?
Okay. So if I can just stop you for a minute, so just to make sure that I'm understanding, what you're saying. So Brandy and Stephanie are your two close girlfriends,
Right.
that you have a relationship with. You're even closer to them than you are your own sisters. Okay, so they've been your support system. They've been people that you've been able to confide in and to rely on. Correct? And so you haven't been able to share with them what has happened to you, and you miss the relationship that you have with them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think about sometimes saying something to them, but like I think Brandy, a part of what makes me and Brandy close is that I think she thinks I'm strong.
Okay.
And I don't know what she would say or do if she found out that that this happened to me, like that I let this happen to me. And I don't know. I think Stephanie would try. I don't know what I just don't feel like they would be able to understand, and it would change the way they feel about me. And I don't want to take that risk.
Okay.
So I just try to not be 100% transparent with them. But then I don't know how to talk to them about it. Talk to them and not talk about it.
Okay.
And so it's just difficult for me to connect.
Okay. So you're having a very difficult time being able to share the incident with them because you're afraid that it's going to change their perspective on how they see you as a
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Hmm.
And it's
Okay.
not, like, how do you bring that up? It was 5 years ago. How do I bring up to them? Hey, that
Mhm.
night randomly this
Mhm.
happened. I was raped. How do you say that to somebody? And what would I do if they don't want to be friends with me? Or like when if they know that this happened and they know that that was something I went through. Like, what would I do? I won't have them there.
Well, it sounds like the very reasons that brought you all together is because you were able to really connect with each other on a very deeper level.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the closer relationship commitment that you have with them as opposed to having with your sisters. So it just doesn't seem that they may change their perspective of you if you decided and when you're ready, if that's the direction that you want to go in, if you shared with them what happened to you.
I mean, probably. I mean, I guess that's a possibility. But then I think like they'll leave me a message,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard for me to call people back. It's hard for me to reach out because I always feel I feel confused a lot of the time. I
Okay.
feel anxious and angry a lot of the time. I don't always know why. So I don't want to call back and have a cheery conversation,
Okay.
right? And so then they leave me a message, but then I kind of feel like, well, if I haven't called you back, why don't you come by and see me? Why
Okay.
don't you come and check on me?
Okay.
Like, that's what I do for them. If
Hmm.
they were hurting, and so I just get these messages. So on some level, I kind of feel like they already have checked out a little bit on me, and that hurts.
Hmm.
And it makes me feel angry at them because, yeah, I know I haven't told them what's going on, but then I also think these are like my sisters, and if I'm that close to you and you haven't seen me or talked to me, when you come by, when you keep calling, and I kind of feel like maybe they don't want to. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Everything feels really confusing right now.
Hmm.
Um, but I find that I guess it makes me feel sad.
Okay. What What do you think they think has happened to you? Let's start with Brandy. What do you think Brandy thinks has happened to you since since a lot of time has elapsed between the rape incident and now?
Well, Brandy was there with me the whole time. Everything happened with my husband. When we
Okay.
got separated, and she didn't really know why we weren't separated. I think she probably thought he was cheating on me, and I didn't tell her that wasn't the case. Um, and so maybe she thinks that I'm still dealing with that stuff.
Okay.
And so, maybe I'm just not really wanting to be around anybody.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think she suspects at all that it's because I can't cope with this rape.
Okay.
I think she might think that maybe I'm just dealing with stuff with my husband. Um, or maybe I'm busy at work.
Okay.
So, I guess, because I don't know if she would ever assume.
Okay. So you believe that in Brandy's mind, she thinks that you're dealing with the emotional um, outcome of the separation of you and your husband.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think because when we talked about it before, I think she may feel like, she may think I already know what she feels.
Okay.
I already know what Brandy wants me to do, so she's like, I'm not going to tell her again how she to handle this. So she may be like, do you deal with it how you deal with it?
Okay.
Um,
So there has been some communication between you and Brandy after the rape incident.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we've talked. We went out a couple of times, and
Okay.
we still deal with. I mean, it was a while ago, but it's not the same.
Okay. Okay.
And there's been some distance.
Okay.
Um, we used to see each other. If we used to talk to each other at least 3 or 4 times a week, and now maybe I get a call from her once a week,
Okay.
and I know I don't call her back.
Okay.
I know that I'm not good with that, but I don't think she realizes how hard it is for me to stay connected. Like, it almost feels like it takes so much energy for me to talk to people and talk around this.
Okay.
Like, I don't feel like I can tell her what's going on partially because I kind of feel like that night they knew something. I mean, I just disappeared. They didn't even think to find me or to think something was up. So it was like there's all this stuff there, and I don't know how to just come out and talk about it.
Okay, we're gonna go back to that particular night, but before we do,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about Stephanie. What do you think Stephanie thinks is happening with you or has happened to you?
Knowing Stephanie, I think she might think I'm mad at her.
Okay.
I mean, last time I talked to her, we did have a little bit of a argument because it wasn't about this, but it was about the way I was handling things at work.
Mm-hmm.
And she agreed with my supervisor that I was being aggressive. I was aggressive for no reason. Like what I did wasn't founded. My reaction wasn't really justifiable in a certain situation that happened with one of the inmates. And that made me angry because I feel like she should have been able to understand why I got so upset. And so I think she may think maybe I'm still upset with her.
Okay. Okay. Um, I almost sense that there's a lot of frustration in the fact that your girlfriends haven't been a little bit more assertive in their attempt to reach out to you, to explore, to investigate what's going on with you. Do you have any feelings of resentment toward them because of this?
Resentment. I guess I never thought of that word, but that feeling. I guess it could be resentment because I feel like they should be doing more.
Right.
But I think also disappointment.
Okay.
Because I don't have anybody else right now.
Okay.
You know, my daughters, Elena and Jalen, they live in different states.
Okay.
My mom, I see her, but she's got Alzheimer's, and she doesn't always even remember our last conversation.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not even really close with my sisters like that. Those are my sisters.
Okay.
So it is disappointment in knowing that it's like I feel alone, and I don't have anybody else to connect to, and I don't know how to make them be the kind of friends I feel like I need them to be right now.
Okay. Well, it sounds to me that they may be just as confused as you are, that the dynamics of the relationship has changed. You all have been friends for quite some time. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the incident because it seems that there's some uncertainty on your part and perhaps on their part as to what transpired that night that was the beginning of the change of the relationship. So if you can tell me exactly what happened. If you can walk me through that night that you were attacked.
During the whole thing?
Yes, if you can walk me through from you being with them because you were with them, correct? You were with them that night?
Yeah, we were.
And just walk me through up to the rape incident.
Okay.
The night that you were attacked.
I hate talking about this, but I know that's why I'm here, so. So we were out. We had went out to get dinner. It was actually the weekend of Stephanie's birthday.
Okay.
So we had went out to get dinner, and then we had went out dancing. Stephanie likes to salsa dance.
Okay.
So we went out salsa dancing, and so at this little spot or whatever, and it was getting late, and so we were getting ready to go. And I had been ready to go. I don't like to go out like that a lot. Mm-hmm. So I was really kind of ready to go. I tend to be the purse lady who holds the purses.
Okay.
So when they were ready to go, I was like, all right, let's go. So I was kind of already out. Walking, and a little bit ahead of them. Mm-hmm. But they were behind me. At least I thought they were behind me. I didn't know that Brandy had forgotten her purse.
Okay.
So I had walked out and was going to get the car anyway. I had the keys. Well, I had the keys to my car. They actually rode together. And so I thought they were behind me. We were probably kind of close to each other, but I mean close enough. And so I thought I heard something, because we were actually out in D.C. And so parking is horrible. Mm-hmm. So we kind of had parked far away. And so I'm walking, and I thought I heard something, but it wasn't uncommon for people to be out.
Right.
And so, and I kept going and kind of picked up my pace. And then I thought I saw someone kind of walked by me in my peripheral vision. And so I called out for Brandy and Stephanie, and I realized that they weren't behind me. They weren't even, I couldn't even see them.
Hmm.
And so when I turned back around to keep going, this dude just popped out of nowhere.
Okay.
And pulled me, it was like this bushy area off on the side, kind of near this park, and he pulled me into the bushes. And I had tried to scream. You know, I'm used to physical contact. Where I work, we sometimes have to restrain inmates. You know, and so I'm thinking this dude's not gonna get the best of me.
Okay.
But you know, I don't know. He just caught me off guard so quick, and so he had me down in the dirt with his hand over my mouth before I could even really say anything. And to be honest with you, after that, I don't really remember. I just know that. I remember feeling his presence off of me, like feeling like there was a weight that had moved off of me, and I heard footsteps, and I just sort of laid there. And I remember the smell of the dirt, and I remember the sound of the street light. I remember the sound of the street light, and I remember thinking, if you don't get up, what are you going to do if someone finds you like this?
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So I got up hoping that, you know, my girls would be around somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know, hoping that they would be there. And there was nobody there. And so it was almost like I thought, did this really happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did this just really happen to me? Um, and all I wanted to do was go home. All I wanted to do was get away. I don't even remember getting my underwear. I just remember getting up, finding my purse and keys, getting to my car and driving home and getting in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
My husband was asleep. My girls were asleep. So it wasn't like I had to explain anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know I didn't even get up. I didn't even like Stephanie and Brandy. They didn't even come look for me. Like I don't know. I don't know where they went. I had calls from them, but they never came by the house or anything to come see if there was a problem. They just, I don't know.
So that's a really frightening and scary situation to be in. I can't imagine feeling helpless, knowing that someone is overpowering you.
It's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, I can only imagine what that must have been like for you. Um, it sounds as though you were hoping that they would come to your rescue. Perhaps they would have seen something um, prior to you being attacked. But it almost seems as though the distance between the both of you, or all three of you, was great enough that he was able to lure you away away from everybody that he was able to attack you. Is that correct? Were you in an isolated area? Were you near woods or forest?
I was near a park.
Okay.
On a side street,
Okay.
and it wasn't. I mean, there were like a couple. Like I said, there was a street light, but it wasn't really well lit.
Okay.
I think the thing that trips me out is that they didn't tell me, "Hey, we're going back. Stop
Okay.
walking." Like they just, I don't know. I didn't. If they called out for me, I didn't hear them. But
Were you all drinking that night?
I mean, yeah. I didn't have a lot because I knew I had to drive all the way back home.
Okay.
But we were all drinking. We all had
Okay.
some wine to drink.
Do you think that you were impaired in any way?
I didn't feel tipsy or dizzy. I mean, I don't feel like I was acting in a way that would have made him think I was wanting it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I know what it's like to be drunk. I wasn't drunk.
Okay. All right. No problem. I just wanted to see perhaps if that would help to shed light on why they may not have looked for you that evening. So if you can tell me, once you were able to gather yourself or to get yourself together, what was your next step after that?
I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I went home. I went home.
Did you report it to the police?
I eventually did. I mean, I eventually, you know, told my husband. I mean, he kind of could tell something was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that next day, I told him what happened, and we went to the police.
Okay.
And whatever happened. The investigation occurred. They took whatever rape kit they were going to take.
Okay.
And my husband at first was really, like I told you last time, he was very good about, he never once blamed me. He never once denied, my feelings about what happened. Um, and I think that's probably what has made the absence of Brandy and Stephanie really hard, because now we're separated. My husband and I are separated, and we're separated because I don't know what to do with this.
Okay.
And he didn't know what to do with it. He wants me to be normal. Okay. And I can't be normal. I can't be what he wants me to be, at least right now. And so I don't have them, Brandy and Stephanie. I mean, I don't feel like I can just call them and be like, to process this. Okay. Until I can really just honestly tell them how I feel about what happened. But I mean, there's just so much to say. Okay. And again, what happens if I tell them and they reject me? Like, what happens if I tell them and they blame me? What happens if I tell them and they don't even believe me? I don't know.
Okay. So your husband had a very difficult time dealing with this. He had a very difficult time coping with this. Do you believe that you are to blame for this?
I don't think what happened to me was okay.
Okay.
Do I think I could have done things smarter that night? I replay it over and over again. Should I have waited for the girl? Should I have walked back with them? Should I have screamed faster? Like, should I have kicked? Should I have used a certain move that we use? Like, should I have done something differently?
Okay.
I don't think that I asked for it, but do I feel like I could have stopped it, or like that's the part that I get tripped up over. And maybe that's what Brandy and Stephanie. Well, why did you walk off? Why didn't you stay with us?
Okay. So you think that perhaps if you were to share this with them, that they would think that you were to blame, or there was something that you could have done to have prevented the situation?
I mean, I don't know what they'll say, but that's my fear.
That's your fear, and perhaps those are the guilty feelings that you've been struggling with. It seems that way.
I mean, yeah, that's, you use the word guilt. Like, it's like guilt is like become this thing that I cannot. It's like it suffocates me.
Okay.
And not if there's the guilt with my friends, although I'm also frustrated with them, and angry with them. But there's also the guilt with my husband. It was our marriage. I couldn't get better. Like, I can't get better. I can't do what he wants me to do. And on some level, I know that if we're supposed to be married for better or worse, sickness and health, that he should be able to walk with me in this. Okay. But on some level, he didn't sign up to be with someone who can't even function on those days.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, if Brandy were here today, what would you want her to know?
That I miss her. Okay. And that I need her, and that I was really scared. And that I wasn't that no matter how strong I wanted to be, I messed up. Like, I wasn't strong enough to stop him. And that I want us to talk again. I want to talk to her. Okay. I want to tell her the whole truth. And then I'm angry about the fact that that they were so far behind me, that they didn't come looking for me. But I miss her, and I want her to be my sister friend again. I miss that.
Okay. And what would you, if Stephanie were here, what would you want her to know?
That I'm not mad at her. I'm angry about a lot of things. And that when she hears me talk about anger, to not be so quick to assume or judge. Okay. But that I miss her too. I need her. Okay. I need someone to talk to. I keep having this stuff is just banging around in my head. This is why I came here, because it just bangs around in my head. And talking to my mom has been better. Okay. Maybe because I know that she won't remember.
Okay.
Maybe because I don't think she will hold on to it. I don't know. But talking to my mom is one thing, but then she doesn't always remember. I need my friends. I need somebody. I need somebody. Like, I need to get this out of my head. The flashbacks, the images. I need my friends, but then I also know I can't give them all that.
Right, right.
I can't give them all that.
Well, this is very difficult, and it's very challenging because not only are you dealing with having to um, overcome the feelings as a result of the rape incident, you're missing your friends. You're missing the core of your support system, and so I think that we should look at seeing how we can begin the restoration of those friendships. Is that something that you think that you may want to accomplish?
I think
Restoring those friendships.
I think yes, I want to, but I think at this point I have no choice.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like I have to do something, but I value them. Of course, I want them to be back in my life. Yeah, I want it to be the quality friendship.
Okay.
I know they're still my friends, but the quality of our friendship is not, something's not right.
Okay.
And I know that it's not necessarily them. Like, I'm not being 100% honest with them. They don't understand what's going on. I don't know how to talk to them about this.
Okay.
I mean, they're like my sisters, and I think it's ridiculous that, again, yet like, it's just this thing won't go away.
Right.
And I can't even figure out how to talk to people who are important to me.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to work with you on figuring out how do I talk to them, or figure out how to work with somebody about how to talk to people and tell them what I'm feeling and how to deal with it in a way that's not going to keep getting me in trouble, like at work where I'm pushing inmates up against the wall and yelling at my coworkers.
Right. Okay. So here is what I would like to suggest some things for you to do until we meet again for our next session.
Okay.
But before I make those suggestions, I just want to make sure that I have the details of everything and that I'm clear on what it is that you're feeling. So that night you went out with Stephanie and Brandy both. It was Stephanie's birthday. You all proceeded to leave the club. You drove separately. Um, and somehow you all got separated. You proceeded to go forth. You saw somebody or thought you heard something out of your peripheral vision. And before you knew it, you were being attacked. You looked behind. You didn't see Stephanie or Brandy. And that's when the guy overpowered you and raped you. You then went home. You shared the incident with your husband, and he encouraged you to report this the next day to the authorities. Um, you were hoping to hear from Brandy and Stephanie, but you they didn't come by. Um, you feel as though they should have been a little bit more assertive in their approach to reach out to you to figure out what was going on, but because they don't have the details of the situation, they're not able to figure out what happened to you, and you're not sharing with them what has happened, correct? Sounds like you want to restore the relationship with your friends as they were your support system, and that you want to repair the relationship and share with them what has happened. Okay, so
is that one of the other staff members'
yes,
phones?
yes, we're just waiting.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'd like to get you to that point where you're able to communicate with them. I think that this is a process that needs time, and that we need to be careful how you approach the situation, because not only is this a delicate situation for you, this is going to be delicate for them to receive this information. So in order to get you back into the rhythm of being able to communicate with people in a very healthy way, what I'd like for you to do, this is going to be your homework for our next session, is to write a letter to Brandy. You're not going to give her the letter, but I want you to write a letter to her explaining to her how much you miss her, okay? And I also want you to write a letter to Stephanie as well. The same thing, I want you to discuss your feelings, And I'm going to let you determine how far you should go in the letter. But I want you to talk about how you feel, how you miss them, and how you wish to repair the relationship. Is that something that you think you may be able to accomplish?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Okay.
I don't have to give it to them, right?
You don't have to give it to them. This is just writing out your letter. And I think that what we'll probably do is work on writing a series of letters. And these are things that you can hold on to. But what I want you to do is just to explore your feelings, the depths of your feelings, and get them out. Okay, so this is an exercise for you to explore and to be able to communicate that in the way of writing.
Okay.
Okay, and this is something that you can hold on to, and then we will later explore when you're ready, giving those letters to Stephanie and Brandy.
Okay.
Okay, does that sound doable?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what we'll do is just close out the session and we'll make an appointment for our next session. Okay. I'm so thankful that you were able to come in. I know it's not easy being able to share information about a situation as delicate as this, but I think that you're brave and courageous to be able to do so. And I thank you once again for coming in.